Perfect.
You think this patch will fix the leaking pipe?
Yes. And with the debris cleared, why don't you tell Arya we've got everything we need to fix the Loomgate?
Me?
Acting or otherwise, major communication should come from the point.
I'll keep that in mind.
Zola, this plan to repurpose Carapace to fix the Loomgate's conduit? Pure elegance.
Zev's idea. I only helped him with the design.
You did more than help. You practically finished it.
What is this? Competition of humility? You're both brilliant, just like this design.
I can agree with that.
I suppose.
The patch is ready, and I've cleared the debris at the Loomgate in Glintwood Hollow.
Excellent work, Bryn. Time for you to take a well-earned rest while the band heads into the Hollow.
You sure you don't need me to come?
We've got this. And you need the break.
All right, if you say so. Aurea, how's it going?
Bryn, you're awake. We're making progress over here. Careful with that.
Hey, no one came back to camp, did they? Is the rest of the band still with you?
We're all here. And the leak is just about... fixed.
Hey, wait, I just want to talk. That was incredible.
Hey, couldn't have done it without you.
Actually, we couldn't have done it without Sev. I didn't expect you to have such a deft hand with magical conduits.
I'm not... I mean... We just got lucky it held.
Not to distract from the victory, but something happened while you were gone. I saw something. Well, someone.
A Hearthsider?
Maybe. The figure was masked and standing at the edge of the camp. I think they were watching me. Before they disappeared.
How friendly.
If there are people still left in the Enclave, we need to find them. They can tell us what happened here.
Yes. I was just thinking we should chase down the scary masked figure that likes to watch Bryn sleep.
Since we arrived, we've been speculating about what may have happened after the surge. But no one here knows the truth. Only Hearthsiders could tell us that. I think the truth is worth the risk that they may be hostile.
You're right. We won't find answers standing here.
Friendly or hostile, if there are Hearthsiders, we need to find them.
Agreed.
And the good news is, fixing the Loomgate didn't just give us easier access to Glintwood, it expanded our scry's reach.
So scries are somehow connected to the Enclave's tapestry?
Every scry was built here.
This means you not only have access to the Loomgate, but you can safely explore further.
Incidentally, our maps indicate that there is a village beyond the Hollow in a large swathe of wetlands known as Dredger's Mire.
Perhaps we'll find our Hearthsider there. Bryn, why don't you brief with Lane before your next expedition?
Sounds good.
After that, it's time to use the Loomgate.
Why didn't you guys return using it yourselves?
We needed to take a key swatch back to camp in order to connect the two. We'll make sure you have a key swatch to connect any other Loomgates to this one from now on.
So, now that I'm done being frigid and unwelcoming.
You were only lukewarm.
Sure. How about an icebreaker? To get to know each other better.
Sounds fun. What have you got?
Simple. If you were a wild animal, what would you be?
Ooh, I think I'd be in a color.
Why is that?
Aggressive, but they hunt in packs with close bonds. I love adventuring, but a kick-ass team is what makes it meaningful.
Huh. I like that.
And yourself? What animal would you be?
An Eastern Reef Crake.
A crake? Somehow I pictured fewer tentacles and destroyed ships in your wake.
You're thinking of the big ones. An Eastern Reef Crake is pretty small and harmless. But all crakes are misunderstood. They are incredibly intelligent creatures, and they diligently protect their eggs. They actually only attack when their nest is under threat. So yeah, I'd be a crake, happily living underwater.
Sola seems pretty pleased with the upgrades to her forge. I think she might want to thank you, Bryn.
This may sound fairly ridiculous, but the real draw of alchemy for me is how it grants me the ability to help people.
Oh?
Yes. I enjoy my little experiments, I'll admit. I enjoy synthesizing new and wonderful compounds. But mixing an unguent for the urchin girl by the canal with the flea bites on her legs? That was, I felt, a rather more responsible use of my allowance. Of course, the house would have looked down on that. The instruction not to mix with lower classes was implicit, but clear nonetheless. I even used alchemy to disguise myself so I wouldn't be recognized. I wore my hair in a stark white for a time, if you can imagine it.
Did you look silly?
Striking is the word I would use. My patients didn't mention it, and my apothecaries knew better than to make fun of their best customer. Alchemy is the science of change, and while I am happy to explore those changes both within and without myself, well, I think my natural colour suits me fine for now.
Might change your mind. You never know.
Exactly. Here to brief?
I like to know everything I can before venturing off to a new place.
Just beyond the forested hills of Glintwood Hollow lies the wetlands known as Dredger's Mire. Much like the Hollow, the Enclave prospected many of the raw materials needed for its ambitious constructs and projects from the mire. Oh, it's no coincidence you found the Ark of the Stricken Earth near a collapsed mine. Likely, it was used for the excavation of minerals and metals before the surge. I believe the natural surroundings of the mire were also rich in resources. The Enclave even settled a small village there known as Poldervale.
Which is where I might find that masked figure that was watching me.
It's possible. Regardless, do you have any questions before you head out?
What can you tell me about Poldervale? It seems like it was settled pretty far from their capital.
Indeed. Though, when you take instantaneous travel through Loomgates into account, what constitutes a remote village changes. The village was likely settled to facilitate the prospecting of raw materials in the outskirts. Resources farmed here could easily be transported across the Enclave through the use of Loomgates.
Apart from the village, it sounds like this is mostly untamed lands. Any expectation that it will be more dangerous than the Hollow?
I would expect so, yes. We've made camp in a way station that's pretty far from Denevron, and the mire yet even more remote. Everything I've read says the deeper into the outskirts of the Enclave one ventures, the more wild and untamed the lands become.
You're saying my battle with the Great Ark might be looking like child's play soon?
Possibly?
Some of the others didn't seem so sure we should be trying to track down the masked figure. What do you think?
history demands we find them. If the masked figure truly is a Hearthsider, their stories and what they've lived through in here would be invaluable to our understanding of the Enclave and of the Surge.
Sounds like I'd better find them then. Thanks for the info, Lane. I think I'm ready to head out.
My pleasure. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. I didn't have the biggest role to play in the Loomgate's repair. I'm not exactly handy with a hammer. But watching the band work gave me an idea for a new alchemical project. Its working name is a loom shard.
A loom shard?
Yes, it's a shard that could draw magic from a Loomgate and bring you back to camp safely, wherever you are.
How is this different from Aurea pulling me back with the scry?
Unaided, Aurea can only summon enough magic to bring you back safely, not all the valuables you might have collected on your expedition. Because this shard draws magic from the tapestry, it can bring you back safely with all you've gathered.
Thanks, Lane.
Shouldn't we be trying to find a way out of here?
Focus on one thing at a time. That's all we can do.
What's that? Hide a magical bubble for eternity.
How about your share of the camp setup? Less worrying and more unpacking, please. I hope I'm not prying by bringing this up, but Darm and Aurea told me about your last band.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like it was pretty rough.
It wasn't great, that's for sure. I mean, I gave up everything I knew to become a weaver. And it only took a couple of weeks for me to realize I had chased the wrong caravan out of town. All that band did was drink and fight. I stuck around, thinking I might be able to make a difference if I became point, but Aaron chose someone else to take his place in the end.
You're in better hands now. I promise. Even though I'm sure your last few days with us have been a lot. Do you have any regrets about leaving?
I did have one friend in the band, Pelagia. She was their enchantress. She was actually the one who convinced Aaron to let me join them. Due to the nature of my departure, I wasn't able to say goodbye. I thought I would send her a letter the next time we stopped in a town.
Then we tumbled through the veil.
Yeah. I don't know what she must think of me.
If she's a true friend, she'll understand.
I hope so. Friends like her are rare.
That's what makes them special.
Ready?
Let's do this.
trip through the Loomgate is a success.
Hopefully more trips to come. To new and exciting places.
The Sodden Pass. A fitting name for the road to the wetlands.
According to the maps, you're getting close to Dredger's mire. I know you're excited to explore, but first things first. Use our key swatch with a Loomgate in the mire, so that it's easy to return.
Right. I'll check the maps.
Perfect. I can see the connection. We'll be able to come back whenever we'd like.
Without having to trek through all the mud.
The beauty of instantaneous travel. These watches are an ingenious system for connecting Loomgates together.
This is Poldervale, but what happened? The village is completely frozen.
This can't be natural.
I think it's safe to say no one lives here. Where else could I look for a Hearthsider?
I can't quite remember why, but something tells me you should search for a watchtower. The maps indicate there may be some nearby.
Doubt security would be active if the village was vacated.
Just trust me on this. I've got some cross-referencing to do.
All right, Bryn. You heard them.
Watchtower. Got it. Just like home. You round a corner and a glacier's right there to greet you.
The Archon Expanse. Pre-Surge, the Arcs trod this passage daily to transport and farm resources from the outskirts.
There's a watchtower ahead.
Found the tone I was looking for. It mentioned that key swatches were held by security in the Enclave's more remote villages. It ensured their Loomgates could be reconnected to more central locations if needed. Perhaps our Hearthsider won't be in the watchtower, but a key swatch to Denevran could be.
Genius, Lane. Nice work.
Another drake.
This one doesn't seem as aggressive. Must not be rutting.
Should leave you alone unless you get close.
According to this logbook, all the key swatches were removed from the Poldervale Watch a few years after the surge.
Strange.
But there was one key swatch that was borrowed and never returned by the mayor at his residence in Poldervale.
Perhaps it's still there.
It'll be tough for me to withstand the cold long enough to search for it.
The rest of the band could help you navigate that? Try discussing the challenge with a few of them next time you're at camp. It's quite a thing, being rescued by the Scry.
Disorienting. But better than the alternative.
I'll only ever use it when I'm sure it's needed.
How come you never hear about scries being used by military? Or to bring nobles home after a night of debauchery?
Rarity and expertise. Scries are enclave enchantments, and when the Veil closed, supplies ceased. On top of that, it takes someone with exceptional control and stamina when channeling magic to use one for any length of time.
Got it. That's why points become watchers. How exactly does it operate?
Similar to a Loomgate, but much more focused. I maintain a constant flow of magic into the Scry, and it connects to you.
Letting you see the area around me.
In an emergency, I can, I guess yank is the best term, on that connection.
It's really nice, having the sensation of you and the others watching over me. You're like the guardian spirits from the stories every Carnhaven child knows. You protect, advise, and of course bicker.
Well, I don't know about spirits, but we'll be your guardians any day.
Compared to my last band, I'm glad we actually use the scry.
Not as glad as I am that the Loomgate seemed to extend its effective range. Just don't take it as a license to be reckless. Risky business flirting with death.
Always refreshing to work with carved materials.
Solar, any thoughts on how I might go about withstanding cold temperatures while I search for the key swatch?
With the right materials, any design for armor could give you some resistance to frost magic and cold temperatures.
What kind of materials could I bring you?
A Callahide would do the trick for one.
There are plenty of those prowling in the outskirts. Thanks for the insight.
My darling, I suspect the way the light filters through the Enclave's veil makes you look more luminous than ever.
Stop. It'll go to my head.
Should I come back later? I didn't mean to interrupt you two.
Sorry, Bryn. Sometimes we get lost in our little world.
But since you're here, I was actually hoping to speak with both you and Solar.
Oh?
I don't know if you know this, but my wife is an extremely talented smith who was apprenticed under a variety of world-class teachers.
Well, a revolving door of mentors doesn't exactly facilitate the most stable education, especially when one of them drops dead in front of you.
Oh, details. You've made more of your varied experience than most could glean from a lifetime. Anyway, I know you always hoped to further your education with the Tarmakine Smithing School's techniques. So, I asked Lane to look into whether or not any Tarmakine smithing was ever practiced here in the Enclave.
Oh, doll. You shouldn't have. It's sweet, but there are other priorities.
What could be more pressing than helping my wife fulfill her lifelong dreams? As luck would have it, there were Tarmakine smiths here before the surge.
Really?
Perhaps our daring point might be able to keep a lookout for anything those smiths might have left behind.
I mean, if it's too much trouble.
Of course. I'd be happy to help.
Perfect. I'll leave you to discuss the details.
Anything in particular I should look for?
The Tarmakine smithing techniques are exceptionally complex, and as such, pretty rare across the Maida. It might be too much to hope for anything close to a completed armor set, but prototypes or even notes pertaining to the style would be useful. I'd take anything you can find.
You might be in luck. I found a schematic. Is this what you're looking for?
Yes, this schematic is for a Tarmakine helm.
Could we forge a helm using the schematic?
Unfortunately, the schematic isn't finished. But sometimes smiths will create a prototype alongside their designs. If you found something like that, I might be able to forge the helm.
So, we're hunting a rogue key swatch in a frozen village. When dealing with temperature, your magic can directly counteract it.
I'm guessing we fight frost with flame?
Just so. Like building a fire on a cold night, except much faster. And the night has teeth and talons.
Unfortunately, I don't have a flame strand yet.
It's a tall order, but defeating a drake would allow us to weave a strand of its power.
Drakes and I are due for a reckoning anyway.
Spoken like a true point.
Hey, Lane. Got any ideas on how I might go about retrieving a key swatch from a frozen village?
I imagine long underwear might help.
Maybe an alchemical solution?
I'm teasing, of course. Drinking a frost shroud phial would do the trick. It makes cold temperatures much easier to withstand. I have some phials already prepared for you. I had the perfect alembic for them, thanks to our recent improvements.